Good morning.
Good morning. We have been here for like almost 2 months now, and obviously we've learnt so much since being here. It's quite different to where we're from, and we really wanted to like just share that and show you guys really what to expect. In saying that, like Dan said, when we first got here we had like quite a big culture shock, like it took us back, but that wasn't like in necessarily a bad way. It was more so like it was so different.
We just weren't aware of it. We just got hit with that, the new sort of life that we had as opposed to like living in Australia. So it was just a bit of like a wake-up call for us a little bit, but nothing bad about it. It was just
not
different.
At all. But that's what we wanted to share in this video, is show you all of the aspects of Bali that you don't quite know about, you don't really see, you don't hear about, or just like the general things that might be worth knowing before you like come over here. But yeah, that's what we're doing today, and we'll show you what it's like.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Gone for a surf?
Gone for a surf.
So to start off today, we've come down to the beach. Dan is going to go for a surf, as he would most days. We wanted to talk about the transportation of the surfboards. Before we got here, well, I didn't know how the heck Dan was going to trek a surfboard around. Well, here you actually get an attachment for your scooter.
As opposed to like Australia, for instance, where you can just chuck your board in your car or in ute, whatever you have. But here, everyone has these surf racks.
Something else to think about at the different beaches around here is whether it's got reef or not.
Yeah, a lot of the beaches here have reef. That's why I like Changi area, because it doesn't come from the Gold Coast where it's just all sand beaches. I thought I'd sort of transition into some more of the reefy areas. So a lot of the ones sort of have a bit of reef, they're not. But if you go down to like Uluwatu area, it's pretty much all reef, as opposed to Changi when it's pretty much all sand.
Yeah, so you got to be quite careful.
Yeah. Especially because it can be really shallow as well. So yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, it can be quite dangerous. It is very high tide.
Very high tide.
So Dan's just gone in for a surf, and I'm here just come for a little walk on the beach. And normally this beach here is covered with people renting out surfboards, there's people lounging on the lounges, yeah, families, lots of people. But today the tide is so high where everyone obviously can't lay or can't chill on the beach. How's the surf?
The surf was really good. It was a lot of fun. You can see like the waves were pretty much perfect. They were like performing really well. They were like catching absolutely awesome waves out there. So yeah, we got some fun as.
Get a couple good ones?
Yeah, a few good ones.
So the day's actually come that Dan likes coffee now.
Well, it's got sweetener in it. It's got like vanilla sweetener or something, but they vacuum seal it, so it's perfect. So you can just shake it, do whatever. It doesn't spill, so it's perfect on the scooter and that.
He loves it now.
Yeah.
You love getting them every couple days.
They're like $1.50 $80 as well, so it's crazy cheap.
$1.50. $1.50 for that.
I know, it's sick.
Really good. We are back.
We're back.
So we're back home now. Following on from just before when we were at the beach, we spoke a little bit about how we transport boards around, and just a little bit about the beaches here. A lot of them around this area are black sand beaches, whereas where we're from, it's like nice white sand beaches. You can get white sand beaches here, it's just more so down near Uluwatu, Binion. There are some around here.
Yeah, it's more the places that are not as many people are, like Canggu, all around like sort of Kuta area, it's all black sand beaches. But
yeah, which is like nice. It's still a beach. It's still beautiful. However, like I don't love the black sand beaches as much because I feel like it makes me feel a bit dirty. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, like same with me as well. Like I love like surfing there. It doesn't faze me at all. But I wouldn't like have the feeling of, oh, let's go lie down the beach and just hang out the beach for the day. It's not really that sort of vibe as such, where in the Gold Coast we'd love to do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then in Australia, but here maybe not the same. And also like continuing on from that as well, like in Australia, like beaches, as soon as you come off the beach, you've got all these showers here that you can use to rinse yourself off. Where a lot of times in Bali, like you don't have access to those showers at all. So you're pretty much, if you go onto the beach for the day and you're wet and you're able to sand everything all over you, you're stuck with that for a lot of the day just because there's not always a shower around. So
or you have to pay a little fee to have a shower.
Yeah, which isn't an issue at all. It's like it's cheap. Like it's like made 20 cents. Like it's nothing. But a lot of the time, there's not even an option for that anyway with the shower.
Another thing that is really big at most of the beaches, I'm assuming all the ones I've been to, is the locals that sell their stuff that they make on the beach.
A lot of bracelets and
scrunchies, sarongs, like the ladies that just come up to you and sit there and they'll pretty much try and convince you, do you want your hair braided? If you don't want a scrunchie or an anklet, it's do you want your hair braided? Do you want a massage?
There's always something which like we don't really mind too much at all. It's just obviously we try to support them when we can.
Yeah.
But like obviously it's their way of making income for yourself. But like it's not so much of you can just chill at the beach for the day, because if you're sitting there, you might have like 3 ladies come sit right next to you and try and sit down with you. Like
I've had a couple leg massages. But yeah, so that's something definitely to expect a lot of when you go down to the beaches.
Just following on from that as well is that there's a lot of bartering that goes on in Bali. Not as much around like the Canggu area, but if you go towards like Legion, it's just like a lot of bartering. So if they give you a price, you can, if you want to, like get it down a lot lower than what they're actually offering. But we haven't actually found ourselves bartering too much at all. I don't think we've even bartered at all yet. But that's mostly because we're in the Canggu area, which is a bit more. Like it's just the price that's set, and you just pay that price as opposed to bartering it.
So we have mentioned a few times when we first got here, we were taken back a little bit, a bit of like a culture shock per se, because yes, we did come from Australia, and everything in Australia is quite like clean and very, very like straightforward, I guess, in a way. And then here, it is a little bit more like rough to the edges almost. In saying that, not in a bad way, we absolutely love it here.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
It's beautiful.
Lex put it really well the other day when I was talking to her. She said, like, Bali is so perfectly imperfect, which I think is so true as well. Like, when you look at Bali as a whole and you, like, look out on things, it's just so beautiful. Like, the landscape's absolutely amazing. But then you could look down on your left and you could be, like, rubbish everywhere, which you don't, like, always see in the pictures and the videos that you see online. So, like, it's absolutely beautiful. Like, when you kind of zoom out a little bit, but sometimes when you zoom in and you have a look, it's, like, can be quite dirty at the same time. Which is just something that you have to obviously take into account. Obviously, being a third world country is going to happen. But yeah, we're just kind of a little bit shocked by that when we first got here.
Yeah, didn't like know to what extent it was going to be like as well. Yeah. So following on from that, I mentioned that I described it as a little bit rough to the edges. I wanted to pinpoint the roads and the footpaths here because like they are a little bit bumpy and a little bit like all over the place. And like the footpaths that there are here, they're not smooth at all. They're like rocky as all hell. So you definitely wouldn't be able to skate on them or anything like we did back in the Gold Coast.
So like so the actual like footpath isn't actually for people to really walk on right now. Like when you think of a footpath here in Bali, it's like scooters going up above them. There's probably going to be stools maybe on them. Like there's not really a thing where people actually just walk on them and just hang out.
Yeah.
It's more of a thing that like scooters use as a shortcut to get around cars, etc.
Yeah, because the roads are quite narrow around here. Like there was a couple incidents where this car fell off the side of the road and got stuck for a few days until they had to come save it, because the road is so narrow that the car just like slides off the side of the road.
And a funny story as well, the exact same car, the exact same driver fell off the exact same spot 2 days in a row.
So yeah, what we've learnt being here is it is almost a must to have a scooter and ride a scooter.
Yeah, because if you're a car, you're going to get backed up and backed up and backed up, where to the point where sometimes they don't even move these cars, it feels like. Yeah. It'll take hours to get anywhere. But with the scooter, they literally just wind in and out, like weave in and out of the cars, go up the footpaths, sometimes go to the other side of the road to go up their footpaths. Like, it's just mayhem, really. But with the car, obviously, you can't do any of that. So if you're blocked up, and you're stuck there for ages.
The car to bike ratio over here is very everyone drives bikes. It's just so much easier. You'll see them just all lined up at all the cafes and all the car parks. It's just what it's like over here.
Having a car here in Bali is definitely not a luxury. If anything, it's something that you don't want to have.
Someone would scratch right up the side.
Like, it's just not worth it, really, especially like because it'll take so long to get to anywhere. In contrast, though, like what we weren't aware of is that in Bali there's some of like the really big branded names as well, which aren't knockoffs or anything like that. They're literally just like full on like well branded stores. Like there's Tommy Hilfiger, there's like Billabong, Rip Curls, there's tons of them around as well.
Yeah, and you pay full price.
You'll pay full price for them. Like if you go into the Kuta area and you go to the big shopping malls, you're gonna get all the really like designer brands. And like around Canggu area, there's tons of Billabongs, Rip Curls, like whatever you want to really buy is like going to be available to you. Which I was more thinking that when I got here it was going to be mostly markets and you barter with the prices. That's what I kind of had in my head.
Yes.
But that's not always the case as well. Like if you go down towards like more of the local Legion area, there's going to be a lot of that. But here in Canggu, it's like mostly just really well branded, actually like brands out there.
There's so many like actually like nice like clothing stores and boutiques that there's so many. I wouldn't even know where to start if you were to go shopping. Yeah, so like Dan just said then about the shopping centres, me coming here, like I had no idea that they would even have shopping malls. Like I should have known they would have had one somewhere, but we went to the cinemas for the first time a few weeks ago, and I didn't know it was in a shopping centre. And when we got there, it was huge. It was like this awesome, like it had everything, all the brands. It had the cinemas, it had all the shops, it had supermarkets, it had this awesome huge candy store. Like it has everything, and I totally like was not expecting that at all. And that was in the Kuta Legian area where it's like a bit more built up.
Definitely like the older generation, the more like towards the Legian sort of area, people maybe above like 40 to maybe like older is normally around like the Legian sort of area. So if you ask your parents if they've been to Bali, it's probably where they've been to. But now like the younger like generation, I suppose, they're more towards like the Canggu Prennam area. So when we spend a lot of our time in Canggu, but there's not many older people there at all. There's a lot of expats who are more like 20 to 30 years old. Where if you go to Legian, it's mostly people who are like a little bit older.
So something that I didn't really think about before coming here that I probably should have was like where to get medication from. Like we packed a bunch of stuff before we came, but I didn't really think like if you run out, where are we going to get this from? And there are like pharmacies everywhere with all like the same stuff that we would have back in Australia, which I had no idea like that they would do that, which I'm actually really grateful for, because I take iron supplement tablets and I run out and I was like, oh my goodness, do they even have any? And you just go to any of the pharmacies here and they have they have iron supplements,
like
which
you can get whatever you wish.
Which like obviously you'd think that like they'd also have them, but it's just something that like I wasn't sure about and I didn't know. So
it's not always like the sort of things that you think about when you first arrive in Bali, because you might be thinking about completely other things. So something that is like completely different here in Bali is the actual supermarkets. Like there's a lot of snacks here, like it's mostly snacks. There's not really too many healthy like alternatives a lot of the time. Like Lex, for instance, love like avocado and rice cakes. But that you can't even get rice cakes here. If anything, it's going to be like a sugary biscuit. It's like the best sort of comparison.
I've been trying to find like a crosscut or a salada alternative, and I still haven't found anything yet, but we'll see.
But like it's a little bit better for me because I love like unhealthy snacks, which is there's tons of them out here. Like Oreos are like 90 cents.
I love them.
Like you get tons of them. But like a lot of the time, what I'm missing is like there's not a whole lot of chocolate here. And chocolate's a little more of a luxury, so if you want a block, for instance, it's going to probably cost you around $10, which obviously in Australia maybe $2 or $3 at most. So I am like missing like the side of things where there's chocolates and all those other snacks as well, which even if they do have them, which most of the time they don't, it's going to be a bit more expensive. But and saying that, we've come across tons of really nice Indonesian snacks we've really loving, so something we're definitely going to miss.
Yes, we've tried so many different ones.
Yeah.
So obviously, like the supermarkets, like Dan said, they aren't the same. They're so different to Australia. There's no Woolies or Coles alternatives. It's more, you find like the local markets where they'll have all of their fresh fruit that they've harvested, and they might have like a few rows of their traditional snacks that they've made, and that is the cheapest way to go, I reckon, so far when buying like your fruit and veggies, because other than that, the only other shops that we've found so far are more of like the bigger westernized supermarkets. But when I say bigger, they're not really that big at all, and their fruit and veg are quite more expensive than if you go to the local markets.
Plus, you'd almost rather go to local markets anyway, because you can see it's so fresh. They like the utes, local like utes are pulling up, and they've got like pineapples in the back or watermelon. You can just see it's fresh, and it's like it's been like brought in from like Indonesia itself as opposed to like imported. Like you can just see it's really, really fresh. So they're like the markets are the ones you want to go to anyway.
They also have the smaller little supermarkets, which almost I would say are like little 7-Elevens kind of.
Yeah.
They just have like some of your basics, some of your snacks that we go to often.
Pretty much every night. We'll
Yeah.
get some like loaves or chocolate or like snacks, something like that. Yeah.
Obviously, we love our food. Like, who doesn't? Coming here, we didn't know like whether it would be cheaper to like buy all your veggies and your groceries and like cook as if you would each night, or buy out each night, which we have come to find that it is a lot cheaper to buy your food every day from like restaurants and where we go to Rongs for dinners. And because of this, we have found so many, like there's so many amazing cafes around, so like nice to sit at. Like you've seen, like we sit and do our workout all the time. And in saying that, for dinners, like there's sushis, there's Japanese, there's Vietnamese, there's Mexican, like there's just everything.
There's like a whole bunch of cuisines out there, and like some, like we love to go like places which have curry, we love to go places that actually like have pizza and everything like that as well. There's literally whatever like cuisine you're after, Bali would definitely have it.
Yeah, so even though we say the supermarkets and stuff don't have as much range as they would in Australia, like there is definitely no limit on like food range when you're going to eat out. Like there is everything, and it's all like I would say a pretty reasonably great price.
Well, yes, sometimes like obviously in Bali you can live however you want to live and spend how much you want to spend. For instance, like a lot of mornings we'll go like to a doppio cafe, which is one in Canggu, which is super cheap, where I can get a burger for like $5. But then again, I've gone to like a place in Seminyak and I've got like a burger for nearly $20. So you can spend however much you want to spend, but you can definitely go like the cheaper or more expensive route if you wish.
We didn't know to like what extent that how cheap things could be.
Yeah, definitely. Like if sometimes like when we want to go out for a feed at night, we want to get like a really nice local like curry, for instance. Like we could be paying maybe $2.50 like each, which is like around like sometimes less than $5 for both of us combined, which is absolutely insane. Something that is unheard of in Australia. Yeah. So and you get like massive portions as well. It's so worth it and it's so delicious. And like we would rather eat locally like that because it actually tastes so much better.
Yeah, and you just like I look forward every day to like going out and eating and buying food because one, like the prices are great, and two, it's just like what we do get is great food. Like, I can get all the things I loved eating back home. Also, like coffee, like I love coffee, and it's like $2.50 for like a nice size like iced latte, and it's just crazy. And like today, you got that coffee from the shop $1.50. Like it's
insane. Also, something that's unheard of in Australia is like being able to get a massage here could cost you between like $6 to $10 a lot of the time, which is obviously so cheap, and it's like an hour long. It's like the best massage ever. But then if we wanted a massage in Australia, it could be like $70 for like an hour. Yeah, which is absolutely crazy. So we found ourselves going to a massage a week now. We're probably going to start going more maybe, but it's absolutely amazing.
So good. But then obviously there are other things that aren't as cheap, like we've mentioned before, like our gym memberships, like they're definitely not as cheap. Another thing that has just gone up though is the visas here, which we went and renewed the other day. And what we thought was going to be $80 per month was now like $140 a month.
Yeah, pretty much what they've done now is instead of doing month by month $80, they've now said, all right, you can stay for 2 months now, but it's going to be $278, which is, I don't think it's too bad. It does like I think it's a little bit easier now. We don't have to keep going each month. Instead, it's 2 months.
Yeah, but it is definitely a lot more expensive than it was. But I mean, hey, what can we do? And we love it here, so it's just something you pay for.
Yeah.
So something that when we first got here that we were a little bit freaked out about was like handling with like money and like not knowing about money, I guess, over here, or like access to money and like how do we withdraw money and how do we pay for things. Like it's a new country and it's different to Australia, but it has actually been so easy.
Yeah, obviously because we're Australian, Commonwealth Bank is pretty much the main branch there, which is, we didn't think that when we got here there was going to be so many of them. There's literally everywhere. You can pull your money out at anywhere. But in saying that, back home we do use card for everything with your phone, just tap and pay for everything. We're here, we're pulling out cash and pretty much doing it that way most times.
Paying cash, yeah.
We were a little bit worried at the very start because in Bali so many people told us, oh, be worried about theft, be worried about this and that. We're here, we haven't had experienced anything like that. We haven't been here for long at all. And I guess we are going to more of like the I guess, the high-end sort of places where probably not as much of that would happen, but we haven't had any experience with that at all. Like, if anything, the Balinese are the most kind, loving people ever.
So
which is like,
nice.
they'll make a genuine conscious effort every single time to like give you a big smile and say hey and ask how your day's going. It's really like, they're such nice people.
But yeah, something that we were told about before we left was having a Wise account, and I had no idea what that was, but being here, I've looked into it a little bit more, and it is been so helpful. It's definitely something that I'm going to be using a lot more. So it is an app that you create an account on your phone, and it pretty much just helps you to transfer money from one currency to another with really low fees. It gives you a really great exchange rate, and you also get like your own card. So when you use the card at international transactions, you don't get that international fee, which is really helpful because that's kind of something we've been dealing with at the moment, international transaction fees, because it is. But this new card and this account is going to help a lot, I reckon.
Definitely, yeah. So like each time you pay, if you're using an Australian card, for instance, you're paying like sometimes $2 each time, or like even more than, depending on like how much you're spending.
Yeah. So following on from what Dan just mentioned about the Balinese culture here and like really how amazing it's been and how beautiful they are, we just haven't had a negative experience at all with any of the Balinese locals or people here. If anything, we've built so many like local relationships from like seeing them all the time and build that kind of like that rapport and camaraderie with them, and it's just like it's really nice, and it's quite beautiful.
Like even like so many times where there could be issues on the road, for instance, where if someone cuts off another person, someone like does something wrong, no one's like swearing or carrying on or anything like that. It's pretty much no one says anything, just carries on because it's just part of it. Like, there's none of that rage or none of that like anger. It's just a real nice sort of atmosphere to be around them. Just such nice people who always want to like sort of upbring you.
They're just so happy, so nice, so giving. And in saying that, like not everyone that we've met has great English, but most of them, like, they're so much better at speaking English.
Especially, obviously, in around the Canggu and that area. But if you go towards, like, East Bali, for instance, obviously no one's really going to be speaking too much English to the locals, really. But, yeah, we found, like...
There's a fair bit.
Yeah, we found that English spoken here is, like, very fluent and very understandable.
Yeah.
So, like, another thing as well that everyone sort of brought up when we were about to move to Bali was be careful of Bali belly and be careful what you put in your system, which... we were very conscious of like being here the whole time, but we've been here for nearly 2 months now and we have not got sick at all yet.
Not even anything little.
Like, touch wood, but we'll get sick now, no doubt.
Yeah.
But like we've had no issues at all. Like if anything, you feel like somewhat like nourished from the stuff that we're putting in our system.
Yeah, definitely. Because you hear a lot of rumours saying like watch out for the ice, which is true, like watch out for like your drinks, like what they're made of, like even if the salads are washed in water. But I feel like it's growing times, like the people here, like they just like they use pre-made ice, they use filtered water, like all the cafes, all the locals. Also with us, with our water, like we've just been boiling our water and we refill our water bottles, and
it's just sort of come to our day-to-day sort of activity. What we have to do is just like boil the kettle as opposed to just drinking tap water, which will probably make you sick.
In saying that, before we came we did get 2 vaccines. We got the typhoid and Hep A or Hep B.
I
don't know, one of them, but we got those just in precaution because they were the 2 with the food and the water, just to make sure we didn't get super sick. But we haven't had anything at all, and I can't say we've been overly careful. Like you've even told me a few times you've brushed your teeth with the tap water and you felt fine.
It'll probably lead us to our next point as well. But a lot of people warn us as well, like be careful of rabies there because there's like monkeys and the dogs, and the dogs are quite sick sometimes. But it is like a common occurrence here when we like ride on our scooter, and there'll be dogs everywhere. Like dogs literally just walking across the road, like dogs on the footpaths. They're absolutely everywhere, and a lot of them are quite like sick. Like a lot of them are losing like fur. A lot of them are like might have lost like an eye, something like that.
It's kind of sad because we love animals and we just want to like say hey and give them a pat, but then again we're just like, oh, we've got to be careful in case they have like fleas, or in case they bite you, turn around and you have like rabies or something. But they're absolutely everywhere.
So something that we've been like pleasantly surprised with since getting here is that it's pretty much hot and sunny like every single day.
So
we've been here for like nearly 2 months and we've probably had like maybe 5 or 6 like rainy days,
Yes.
cloudy days. Like it's literally sunny and hot every single day, which is something that we love. Obviously, coming from the Gold Coast,
Yeah.
it's something that we love. So I can go surfing all the time. I can do whatever we want. We like in the spa area, which is so good.
And even when it does rain, it's not cold at all. It is hot, and it doesn't even rain for that long. It might be like 20 minutes, if that.
Which is pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
like, the dry season here was also like something that we weren't aware of at all. But the dry season here is for like 10 months.
Yeah.
So I believe it's from February all the way back up to December, which is absolutely insane. So it rains for like 2 months of the year, pretty flat out, I've heard. But the rest of the time it's just hot and sunny. Yeah, I haven't touched a jumper once. I haven't touched long pants once.
No.
It's just been stinking hot. Like
Yeah.
the thought of that actually makes you uncomfortable because it's so hot. We're talking to our mates back home right now. They're saying it's like 7 degrees, which is absolutely insane. Even on the Gold Coast right now, 7 degrees is like insane. And now we get here and it's like 30 degrees. It's
We
insane.
left at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Sucked in.
All in all, we absolutely like love it here in Bali. We're going to stay here for quite a while now. But yeah, we love like every aspect of it. Like you take the good with the bad, but it's absolutely perfect. Like everything we sort of want is here.
And we would recommend it to absolutely anyone who was like us, just like thinking of coming, didn't know what to expect. Just do it. It's so worth it. We love it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're sure like so many other people like who are out there as well would absolutely love this place. There's not a whole lot to not love. So yeah, like thanks a lot for watching this video. We do appreciate you watching. Obviously we are a new channel, so it does like we do appreciate that. So thanks a lot. Nearly died out there. I got bit by a shark, so lucky to come out with just a scratch really.
I'm actually gonna like heave myself over the balcony.
Let's go,
Okay, this is the one.